Welcome back to another episode of Thinking That Matters, and it's a special episode. I was just joking with my amazing friend and guest, Lisa Hammett, that I was going to call it Leadership with Lisa, because we're going to be talking about some leadership today.
Yes, we are.
And so welcome, Lisa. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing, and I'm very excited to talk about this topic.
I know. Okay, so those of you who follow the podcast, I had Lisa on. She was gracious enough to interview me for my upcoming book. And towards the end of that interview, we started talking about habit stacking.
Yes.
And how both of us looked at each other and were like, we should totally do something on that for leaders. We fist bumped and we were like, let's do that. Yes. Okay, so here's the actual taking action on the idea from a previous episode. So first of all, I'll let you kick us off, because if we're going to talk about habits for leaders, we need to establish what is a habit. So you take it from there, and then I'll add in.
Okay. So a habit is really in three components. It could be four. Some explain it as four components, but there's the cue, which is the trigger, the prompter, whatever you want to call it, that will prompt you to do the behavior that you desire. And then the behavior is the third or the second piece of it. So it's the cue, the behavior, and then the third is the reward. Now, in James Clear's Atomic Habits book, he talks about the importance of having a motivating component between the cue and the actual behavior, because you have to be motivated to take that action. And the reward on the back end is also a motivating component, because if you don't have that motivator, why would you repeat the behavior? So a quick example of what the process looks like is, let's just say, hypothetically, you want to increase your water intake. And one of the first things that you do when you get up in the morning is make a beeline for the coffee machine or the teapot, whichever you prefer. What you could do is put a water bottle next to either your teapot or your coffee machine, have it there. That is your cue. That is your trigger to drink more water. And then the behavior is you want to drink the water, and then your reward would be that caffeine of some sort.
Cup of fill in the blank.
Yes, exactly. And this can work really well because you've got that huge motivator. Some people attach things to activity, others to practices that you already do. So that's just a quick version.
Yeah, so I think having clarity around what is a habit really matters. Now, it's interesting when you talked about there needs to be something motivating between the cue or the trigger and the behavior. It's interesting in at least today's media-rich world. I'm seeing more about people talking about motivation is underrated. It's about discipline. And so let's each speak to this, because from a leader's standpoint, that's our focus, are both of us individually, and really even in this episode together, it's about the leader that's listening. How would you speak to this? It doesn't matter about motivation. What matters is that you have the discipline to do the thing. I want you to speak to that, and then I'll share my thoughts.
So discipline does not work.
Oh, okay, right there. That could be a title of a reel. Okay, all right, so please tell me more.
Discipline does not work when it comes to habit formation. We have this misconception that, if I just push myself and just do this and I'm totally disciplined, then I'm going to create this behavior. So think about going to the gym. Let's say you don't enjoy going to the gym, but you know that you would get great benefits by going to the gym. If you say, I'm just going to discipline myself and just do this because I know how beneficial it is that motivating?
No.
No. If anything, it sucks the life out of you and you don't do it. You might do it for a couple days. So the key here is when you're forming a habit, one, you have to make it stupid small, so realistic, and attach it to something that you already do. Mm-hmm. And it's those baby steps and it's the repetition that will then help you formulate the habit. And one thing I want to talk about the repetition, because I have this question all the time from people. Well, how long does it take to form a habit?
Okay. So let's do a quick poll.
Yes.
So Lisa, what are some of the responses that you get? Because I ask this. I'm like, quick poll of the room. How many days do you believe it takes to form a habit? What's your number one answer?
21.
Same here, 21. What are other answers that you've heard?
3 weeks, a month. 2 weeks.
Yeah, I've heard 30 days. I've heard 45 days. Mm-hmm. I think one training that I was doing, maybe someone said 90 days. Okay, so now finish.
Yes. Everybody's different. There is not a right answer. And I use an example that maybe a lot of people can relate to is you probably have been around somebody who smokes, or maybe somebody in your family, or maybe you did it at one time. I know it's not as big a thing now, but think about somebody who is a smoker. And there are individuals who can quit cold turkey. Just one day, they're like, okay, I'm done. I know this is not healthy. I am not going to do it. And I'm not going to say that it's any less difficult for that person than it is for somebody else. You know, nicotine is a huge addiction, but they can quit cold turkey. And then there are others that have tried on and off for years and they cannot do it. And some people are like that with caffeine. That's another one as well.
Yeah, that's a big one now.
Or sweets.
Yeah, the sugar. Mm-hmm.
So it depends on the individual.
Yeah, I think that's an important part. And I think the reason, I'm just thinking from a brain standpoint, part of the reason why it depends on the individual is that it's connected to what are the neural pathways that are already established in an individual's brain.
Yes.
Right? And, you know, it's like that recognition that if we have a lot of bumps or cracks or, you know, challenges in the roadway, okay, in our brain, then it very well is more difficult for that individual than someone that doesn't have those same issues in terms of how they think about things. So there's so many aspects that go into habit development. And, you know, the other thing that came to my mind when you said discipline doesn't work, I just loved how firm you were in that statement. It was awesome. I thought, you know what? It reminded me of when we were raising our sons and they were young boys learning to pee in the toilet.
Oh, yes.
Which, you know, there's a certain amount of habit necessity around that. And you know what didn't work, Lisa? Disciplining them when they didn't do it.
Yes.
It didn't work. It is not what motivated them to do the thing.
Right.
And I thought, how often as leaders are we disciplining, like in the negative sense?
Yes.
Because someone has yet to develop a needed habit or routine or repetition of a task well, and we get frustrated as leaders and we move to discipline to try to make it happen.
Oh, that's so common. So common. And they wonder why their employees aren't responding or their team is responding. So in your example, then instead of disciplining your sons, it could be when they did aim the right way, just say, oh my gosh, that is fantastic.
You're getting McDonald's French fries.
Exactly.
We literally looked at each other and we were like, we have become those bribing parents. I mean, but let's just break that down, right?
Yes.
What I can know now as a much older adult is that it wasn't about bribing. It was about rewarding.
Reward.
Right?
Yes.
And the reward was a motivator. And so I think that is also part of this. It's rethinking even the words we attach to the habit formation process to allow us to be more open-minded about how we approach it, not only for ourselves, but for the people that we're privileged to lead.
Yes.
So yes, that we did go to reward, and French fries tended to be the most requested reward. So, but again, there's a cue, a trigger, then there's the behavior, then there's the reward. And what you were talking about, and by the way, you said incredibly small. I mean, I think there's a big reason why James Clear called the book Atomic Habits. As a chemistry person, like when I saw that title, I was like, ooh, the atom, it's small, a lot of things you don't see, and you more see the result of it. So I think the small nature of it is important. So let's talk about, you and I agreed, at least for this episode, we were going to talk about 3 main areas: the starting of the day, what we're doing throughout our day, and how we're ending our day so that we can develop habits, leadership habits that actually stick.
Yes.
So let's start with the first one of those, starting the day. Let's get first some non-examples out there. What are some non-examples of, meaning these are not the best ways to start the day as a leader?
You reach for your phone.
Oh my goodness, yes.
You just reach for it and you start scrolling.
While you're still in bed.
While you're still in bed and you're not even fully awake. But you're scrolling, you're checking email, you're on Facebook, you're watching YouTube, you're doing whatever. And that automatically just elevates your central nervous system and you start to get agitated. There is a level of tension there that you may not even realize.
Yeah.
And then it just, everything that happens after that just is at this higher state. Instead of starting the day with calm, clear-headed, laser focus, and just being in the right headspace so that when challenges arise, you're not just tense.
You're not starting from an agitated state. Yes, agreed. I think that right there is so important because, a single email can set one's brain in a downward spiral, for example. And it really can, it just takes people off course and they don't even realize oftentimes that's what is happening where that is concerned. I'm appreciating that tremendously. Any other examples that come to mind? I mean, I knew the phone was going to be one right away that would come up in our conversation. So let's talk about starting the day well.
Okay.
All right. So I'll kick us off. So obviously the opposite of grabbing your phone right away, and it's not that I pull my phone from the charger because it is the clock that I use and it's my alarm because I have learned to discipline myself. I pick it up and I put it on the counter, but I have a whole routine that I go through. I have nothing to do with my phone that's work related first thing in the morning. My thought is, for me, I have a particular routine that I go through. I wash my face, I brush my teeth. A habit stack that I have while I brush my teeth is I read My Utmost for His Highest. So that devotion I've been reading while I brush my teeth for 2 decades.
Wow.
And because I love how it challenges my mind. So I'll stop there. What's something for you in terms of starting your day well?
I start my day listening to a meditation. It's through BrainTap technology, and I have to listen to it through my phone, but it's an app. And I have my headphones next to me, and I put it on, and there can be sounds, different kinds of sounds, or it could be actually, his name is Dr. Patrick Porter. He can talk about, different things, but they have them for stress. They have them for leadership. They have them for communication, for just all different kinds of things. So I listen to that while I am still in bed. And then I do my PQ reps. And basically what that is a micro meditation that engages my senses. That's part of the mental fitness foundation that I do, when I coach individuals. So I do that. And then I get up, put on my clothes, my workout clothes, and I go for a walk for an hour. And I'm doing PQ reps when I'm on my walk. I'm listening to all the different sounds that I can hear.
Yes.
Making sure I'm drinking 1 to 2 bottles of water. And then I come back, I have my breakfast, and I'm doing my devotional reading. And that's how I start my day. And there are some mornings, like when we have links, which is a networking meeting, then I have to modify it a little bit.
Yeah.
But if I don't start my day this way, it just does not go as well. And I feel like I'm playing catch up.
Yeah, I agree. I love the practicality of that. And we'll need to do a whole episode on PQ reps, like to really delve into that more fully. Something that you said did catch my attention, though. So I work out 3 days a week, and we've basically kind of built it's a gym, but it's a home gym. Mm-hmm. But something that you said, you grab your workout clothes. That is an example of a great way it's the cue, the trigger. For me, my workout clothes are staged on the side of the garden tub that we rarely ever fill and use. But they're there. So as soon as on my Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's typically when I work out in the morning, those clothes are there. They're my cue. Mm-hmm. It's like so that's a slight, it's not a slight, it is a variation to my normal morning routine where I do walk in, I go straight for the workout clothes, and then I go out to work out. But I habit stack on a workout because when you do your PQ reps when you're walking, are you listening to anything? Mm-hmm. With the headphones? No. Or are you listening? You're listening to nature, cars driving by, your heart beating.
Yeah, it's a game, which is really kind of fun. It's how many sounds can I hear? And it's amazing. It could be an airplane. It could be an Amazon truck. It could be a motorcycle. It could be a dog barking. You can hear the squirrels chattering. You can hear the birds. You can hear the traffic noise. There's all different kinds of things. Horns. Sometimes you can hear a train in the distance. And it just becomes a game. But it makes you super aware of your surroundings.
Love it.
And sometimes I will do colors. How many instances do I see this particular color?
I love that. That's a great way to activate the reticular activation system.
Yes.
I love it. So again, you're going through PQ reps while you're walking. That's a habit stack, just to give you like a very specific example. Me reading a devotion while I brush my teeth. That's a habit stack.
Yes.
You doing your devotions while you eat breakfast. That's a habit stack.
Yes.
One that I have grown to love in the days where I'm working out is I put my AirPods in and I listen to books on Audible while I work out.
Nice.
And, as in my 50s woman, the key to keeping cortisol from, just overtaking you is you do a rep, you rest a minute. You do a rep, you rest a minute. Well, during that minute rest, I have a notebook that I keep in the workout area where I'm taking notes, whatever the book is that I'm listening to, like, oh, that's really good. I like that. Or I like that quote. Or what page was that on? So it's a way for me to not only, I pay attention because I'm thinking about what am I going to write down, but I have been able to go through so many books just from, a half hour to 35-minute workout 3 days a week. I mean, that's anywhere from an hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes of a book that you're consuming minimally every week. That's a habit stack.
That's amazing.
And it allows me to do two things that I enjoy. Because, truthfully, like, I'm not just like, yes, let's go lift some weights.
Oh, yuck.
Like, I'm just... like, that doesn't get me excited, but when I can think about, ooh, I can learn something while I'm lifting weights, like that is a motivator for me to do the behavior.
Yeah, it takes the focus off of what you don't like as well. Because the reason we don't do things, that's why discipline alone does not work, because it feels hard. And as humans, we try to disengage from things that feel hard or difficult. That's just human nature. So that's why making it easy, making it pleasurable, having that reward, starting stupid small, as I said, that is what builds the self-efficacy so you can keep going. And then just, building things throughout the day. I have to share quickly, one little PQ rep that I like to do too, if I have an important meeting or something that I'm going to is, I'll rub my fingertips together. Or I notice when I go to the bathroom, I'm noticing how the water feels, the soap on my hands, the temperature, and then however I'm drying them, what's the texture, the hot air, depending upon what it is. So it's those little things that you do throughout the day.
All right. So, okay. Here's my thought, because I want you to explain, because, even just on this podcast, the thinking that matters, I talk about we need pattern disruption, which is, my newsletter on LinkedIn is called The Thinking Disruptor. So I want you to give the quick, we're going to say Cliff Notes version of how a PQ rep, like the things you were just describing, help the value of the disruption that it creates in the brain.
Okay, I'm going to use an example of when you're having an unhelpful thought. If you are getting down on yourself, saying, well, that was stupid, I can't believe that, or I should have known that. Or it could even be when you're in bed at night and you wake up and all of these swirling thoughts are in your brain and you can't get them to shut down. You say to yourself, stop, stop, stop. And you envision a big red stop sign. Similar to the stop sign that you would see at a four-way stop in a school zone with flashing lights. And that is disrupting that thought pattern in your brain. It's getting your brain's attention and pulling it away from that so that then you can focus on the behavior that you want to or the thought. And there's a practice, I won't go into it now, about how to put you back to sleep. But these little things, and you think, well, that's dumb. No, they're not.
It works.
It totally works. And you can do that throughout the day. And I make a joke about it too. Like, okay, I know you're judging me. You can just shoot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think even from a faith-based standpoint, how did Jesus disrupt Peter? He said, get thee behind me, Satan, right? I mean, that's a disruptor. It's,
totally.
That was in effect saying, stop right there.
Yep.
We go no further
Yep.
in this line of thinking or talking where that's concerned. I love that. And I think that we as leaders need to be much more mindful of the ability that we actually do have to control what's happening in our brain.
Absolutely.
I think so often we excuse it as well. That's just out of my control, or I can't help that I fill in the blank. I'm snippy or, ugly to people, or I speak before I think. And it's really learning how to disrupt those and really rework our habits that we have. Because even being snippy is a habit.
It is.
Or it can become a habit,
It's a trained behavior.
Yes.
It's a trained behavior.
Yes. And so I think that is an important piece. Okay, so here's my thought. I am thinking, because we're having such a great conversation, that let's tell them what's coming up, and then we'll actually do, what I'm going to say is you're going to want to listen to the next in this series, because today we focused on how we start our day, like how we shouldn't start our day and great ways to start one's day. We want you to drop a comment about ways that you found helpful and how you start your day well. And then you're going to want to listen to the next episode to talk about what you can do during your day. Yes. Okay, so tell them what's coming.
Coming in September.
Yes.
Oh, we have a really great collaboration educational event that we are putting together for September. And we're just super excited about it. So that's all I'm going to share.
Yeah, so you're going to want to look for the details about that. We are designing it for leaders that truly do want to actually cultivate leadership habits that really serve them well.
Yes.
And so we are excited to share more detail. So with that, I'm going to tell you, like and subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, leave a comment about what is something that you heard today that challenged you, encouraged you, or potentially could be a cue or a trigger for you to have the behavior that allows you to experience a reward and develop a habit in the process. I'm Elizabeth Mahusay, the host of Thinking That Matters. Thank you, Lisa.
So welcome.
And I look forward to the next part 2 of our conversation.
Can't wait.